The story of my life remains written on these pages, but my fate has always been my own. Every deed, every choice, every person I met made me what I am. Could I have taken a different path? Could I have found a different calling? Altered the very course of history? And what price would I have to pay?
Greetings, fellow YouTubers, and welcome back to The Life and Suffering of Sir Brante, as we approach the end of the line for Bran Brante. The final chapter, The Revolt, is now upon us, guys. Let's go. Previously on Sir Brante, we have ended the peacetime chapter on a wild note, to say the least. We have killed our elder brother Stefan in a duel to preserve our family station as well as our ties with Gloria, our married sister. We have obtained nobility of the sword, favor of the overseer, and replaced Stefan as the heir of the family. And most importantly, we have fulfilled Gaius Tempest's task and brought villainous Dorius Soton before the Court of Honor. We have actually obtained something I had never gotten before in any of my playthroughs: absolute affection of Gaius Tempest. He appreciates our efforts, he appreciates our service. We are the most loyal and reliable servant of the Imperial Overseer. But now, peaceful years are over, the storm of the revolt is brewing in Anizot. So guys, this final chapter needs to be really fast-paced, so I'm gonna comment on my actions a little less than usual. I will not go on rants and monologues as much as I usually do, and we will try to keep it as fast-paced and exciting as possible. Let's go.
At last, the day has come which would decide my fate, as well as that of my family, and perhaps the entire empire. The day of the revolt.
Sounds promising. The revolt begins. The Court of Honor has meted out its justice. Victorious, I return from my overseer's headquarters to Anizot, accompanied by a squadron of Legion soldiers. The soldiers have been assigned to me for the purpose of carrying out Gaius Tempest's personal orders. El Brante, I am entrusting you with an affair of the utmost importance. During the last year, Anizot has veered dangerously close to a revolt. Commoners who refuse to know their place, conspirators, new faith fanatics. I have no choice. I must build an army and put an end to these disturbances. Sadly, Sir Elborn appears to be too merciful and incapable of dealing with the unrest. Prove to me that you can take his place. Maintain order in the city until my arrival. Okay, I arrived to find demonstrations in the squares, passionate sermons, and demands for equality. The news that Otton has been tried by the Court of Honor merely fans the flames. The disgraced commander has returned to Anizot and refuses to go into exile. The city is on the brink of a revolt. Whatever the Court of Honor may have decided, my duty is to remain in Magra and stop this maddened mob. Okay, it is difficult for Otton to gather Anizot's noblemen beneath his banners, but many nobles who are against Gaius Tempest are outraged to see such an insult inflicted upon a fellow elite. They assemble a militia ready to deal with the disturbances. After receiving the news that Otton has refused to go into exile, the city seems about to burst into flames. The crowds in the squares have become larger, armed commoners take to the streets. Remy Elverman is already dead. Oh my god. His life taken by the verdict of the People's Court. He was strangled by the mob that broke into the city hall. The magistrate's lifeless body now hangs just outside the windows of his office for all to see. Elverman just can't win. He just always loses right at the beginning of a revolt. Boom, he's dead. Okay. I have only a small squad of legionnaires under my command. For the moment, stopping the Cimmerian revolt is simply beyond me, but tomorrow everything could change. And my first love ever, my first crush Sophia, is at the helm of the revolt. She's leading it. She's the leader of the Anisot revolt, the leader of these crazy mobs fighting against the established order. Yeah, Emil Vermin is dead. Okay, so the thing is, the Court of Honor ending of a peacetime chapter actually gives us pretty good stats, starting stats. We have a reasonable amount of troops, we have trust of nobility and cautious support of the clergy. We don't have any allies in the common estate yet because commoners are too busy burning stuff down and killing people, I guess. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. For years now, Anisot has been simmering like a cookpot over a slow flame. The powerlessness of the simple folk, unable to change the old order, has gradually given way to rage. Finally, this anger became stronger than the age-old submission to the higher estate. This rage was the spark that lit the fire of the revolt. All of Anisot's commoners have risen up in rebellion. Workers, artisans, merchants, beggars. They all long to break free of noble tyranny and the perpetual suffering that is their lot. The most daring among them have joined the last straw. The secret society has sent entire squads of trained soldiers out into the streets. They hand out guns and bombs to the people. Weapons that give them a chance to wage war on equal footing against noblemen descended from generations of warriors. But the most dangerous weapon the rebels possess is the People's Court. The commoners have claimed the right to sentence their enemies to true death. The first nobles executed by the last straw this very night served as proof that these sentences are real. For the first time in the history of the Empire, the divine force of the law is in possession not only of the noblemen, but also of the common estate. Among the rebels are many new believers. They are ready to take up arms to defend their faith and freedom from the lots. Prefect Elborn's allegiance remains unknown. The Supreme Judge has taken such pains to give the lowly state more rights. Will he support a revolt that strives to do the same? Anisot has recently been rocked by a series of spontaneous assemblies and protests. The mob demands equal rights for all estates and freedom from the tyranny of the nobles. The authorities must recognize the new faith and grant the commoners the right to choose their own lot. Okay, the city is basically under control of the rebels, the insurgents. It is the duty of Overseer Gaius Tempest to crush the revolt. The Archnean nobleman feared for his own position and power, so he was reluctant to punish the rebellious city. But the ensuing uprising has left him no choice. The Overseer has announced a full-scale mobilization. In the morning, the legion will march toward Anisot under his command, and attempt to return the city to imperial authority with fire and sword. Members of the higher state fear the coming rampage and strive to keep order on the streets. The Inquisition led by Sister Jeanne is trying to stop the new believers. Okay. After nightfall, the city grows quiet. Its courtyards and squares are empty. In mansions and palaces, hasty negotiations are held and schemes are concocted. In dark cellars, the revolt is being prepared and armed units are gathering. All citizens, rich and poor, common and noble, are arming themselves, some with ancestral swords, others with cleavers. Anisot is preparing, waiting for the dawn. As the legion arrives for the assault, the rebels assemble into a militia and get ready to fend off the imperial army. But there is little unity in their camp. Their leaders are already marred in a power struggle. There are also defenders of the imperial order within the city walls, members of the old aristocracy, soldiers of the Inquisition, priests of the old faith, commoners unwilling to defy the law and the Twins' design. These people too refuse to lay down their arms. My entire life has led me to this moment. Step by step, I have made myself the man I am now. My actions today could alter the course of history, but am I ready to go the distance? What will have become of me by the time the sun sets? Uh-oh, the revolt is increasing. So the beautiful thing is that in this particular playthrough there is actually a solid reason. There are solid reasons for the revolt, because the province was peaceful for several years. There is little order. There is huge unrest on the streets. There is church schism. There is struggle for power. So like all the components for the revolt are here. So I understand why. Bran understands why the rebels demand what they are demanding now, but still, he is the loyal servant of the Overseer, so I think he's about to be a defender of the Empire. He's gonna try to restore order on the streets and save as many lives as possible, one street at a time. That's what I'm gonna do. That is my duty as a nobleman and as a servant of the Overseer. To resolve this conflict as peacefully as possible. The family's fate. Okay. First rays of a morning sun reach the windows of my family home. The calm before the storm will soon be over, and yesterday's turmoil will return. The El Brantes have to decide what to do. Okay. After a sleepless night, we gather in the sitting room as a family once again. Father is the first to speak. This is what I was afraid would happen. The noble estate has turned a blind eye to the common people's misery, and now we have a revolt on our hands. It is my fault as well. I did all I could to serve the cause of justice, but it just wasn't enough. And now blood will be shed. I want to make one thing very clear. Today, our family cannot get involved in the unrest. We will not take sides. I feel for the common estate, but we are not getting dragged into a hopeless bloodbath. As for preserving the Overseer's rule in Anizot, we will not sacrifice ourselves for that either. He has led Magra to this rebellion, and now it's up to him and his legion to deal with the rebels. Okay. Father is silent for a while, then he takes his sword off the wall and places it firmly on the table. We will stay in our city and protect our home. Whatever danger we might face today, the El Brantes will not surrender their home, their status, or their place in this world. He meets my gaze. My son, I know you are going to make your own decision. You are too deeply involved in this conflict to just stand aside. But right now, I am talking about our family here, Bran. Our family must remain out of harm's way, no matter what you decide to do. So the thing is, because we have neither of our elder siblings with us, we can't convince our father to pick a side. We can't convince him to oppose the revolt because we need to have Stefan with us, and we can't convince him to side with the revolt because we need to have Gloria with us. All we can do is either agree with him or convince him to flee the city. Obviously, I don't want to flee the city. I don't want to abandon our home. So, yeah. Yes, father. You need to take shelter at home and stay out of the struggle. Your duty is to protect Mother and Nathan. They can't take up arms, obviously. You are the only nobleman who can protect them right now. Yes. You should focus on keeping them safe. But I will have to act on my own. I cannot stay out of it. This is a historic day and I have my duties and my responsibilities. I will join the struggle for the city's future. Father lets out a bitter sigh and puts his hand on my shoulder. Very well, son. I always knew you had your own destiny. I hope you fulfill it today. Okay. As for the rest of us, we will stay home and stick together. Check all the locks, bar all the windows, and reinforce the doors. I say my hurried farewells to the family and leave them to the preparations for the coming storm. I'm still uneasy. If they should find themselves in danger, I promise to come home and help them at once. I head for the gate. This is where I belong, on the streets. The history is about to be written. Bran, hold on! I turned around and looked behind me. Nathan hurries toward me. The die is cast. The Brante family chose to remain in the rebellious city of Anizot. By their will. My younger brother stands before me, clutching an old prayer book. I know you in a hurry, Bran. I'll try not to take up too much of your time. As you know, my faith has wavered all my life. The twins know how much I've sinned, but even in my darkest hour I knew they hadn't turned away from our world. I knew they still cared. Nathan is quiet for a moment, watching a tiny ant make its way across the porch. But I just can't understand, no matter how hard I try. What's happening to us? This revolt against the Empire. How did the twins let it happen? Is this even possible? I mean, the twins made the whole world as part of their design, didn't they? Does that mean the entire world is about to fall apart? This revolt. What is it? Please help me understand. What will I tell him? Okay, we have some bullshit options like the revolt is a challenge against the ghost, blah blah blah, the revolt is a threat to their design, blah blah blah, Nathan will be consumed by despair, bullshit. Walk away without giving Nathan an answer, another bullshit. Okay, we have two good options actually. We can say that he should ask the elder, and then this will make Nathan a prophet. Interesting. Or we can say that the revolt is part of the twins' design because the twins gave people freedom, and that freedom includes the ability to alter their great design. So Nathan will remain hopeful in this case. This option is what Bran believes in. Like, the twins give us the breath of life, the will to struggle, and the freedom to choose our own destiny. But Bran was wrong many times about things, about how the world works, about whether the twins care or not, and now he's uneasy because he remembers how many times Nathan said some strange things about forgiveness and how the elder twin wanted to speak with him, with Nathan. So really, I don't know, guys. I don't know how Bran would act in this situation. I guess he takes some time to contemplate, some time to think about it. Basically, the question is, does Bran trust his own judgment on this matter more, or he trusts Nathan's judgment? He trusts that his brother can find answers on his own. Let us look at our relations with Nathan with absolute affection. And he went from gratefulness to hopefulness with our help. Well, I think it's about time Bran Brante trusts his little brother. Look, Nathan, I have always tried to guide you to the truth, as I saw it. I told you many harsh and cruel things about the twins, how they don't particularly care about us, how how they don't care for us, how they're cruel and send us dooms, not fortunes, and that you should not pray to them. I think I was wrong. I think I don't know as much about the gods and the world as I claimed to. I think I can't give you an answer now. Only the gods hold the answer you seek. And I think that you, and maybe you only, in this entire city, or maybe in this entire empire, you have the power to ask the twins. You are so much wiser and so much... You don't know how strong and how wise you are, really, Nathan. You are one of the most wonderful human beings I have met in my entire life. If anyone has the power to ask the elder what the fuck this all means, it's you. Ask him, speak to him. Nathan falls silent. He unconsciously touches the sacred symbol he wears on his chest. Bran, you believe me? You really believe the elder spoke to me? Indeed I do. I believe you, and I believe in you, most importantly. I believe in you, my little brother, my wonderful, wonderful little brother. He kneels silently. He bows his head and speaks a prayer to the elder. His body begins to tremble, his eyes roll back in their sockets. The sacred symbol in his hand burns with a silver flame. The air is growing heavy. Time and space freeze, and then it passes. Nathan leaps to his feet, his eyes wide. I heard him. I did. He is here, Bran. The Elder, he walks among us. The Elder is looking for an answer, just like me. He is calling out to us. He wants to know what happened to our world. He wants to hear us. I need to find him. Suddenly he stops in mid-thought. But our family needs me now too, right? We've got to stick together. Listen, brother. You have seen the truth. The truth that is close to me and to many people like me. But you are not like me. You are wiser. You are kinder. Your soul is so much purer than mine. Your intentions are pure and your conscience is clear. That is why it is time for you to walk your own path. It is your, I believe, I hope it is your destiny to find the Elder. I believe that you can speak to him and tell him of our plights and our sufferings and our trials and tribulations. Speak to him, little brother. Nathan smiles meekly and embraces me as awkwardly as ever. I'll never forget everything you've done for me, brother. Farewell. Nathan casts one final glance at the family home, then disappears beyond the gate. He walks alone now, combing the streets for a mere moment before they erupt in madness. This is Nathan's one true path now. My younger brother set out on a pilgrimage to preach his own teaching of the twins. Because he has a meaning in this world, he has a place in this world after all. No man is obsolete. No man is left without the God's love. Only the miserable and the cruel are left without the God's love. But Nathan is neither miserable nor cruel. He's a kind soul and he will find his own path. I believe in him. Nonetheless, the crimson sun slowly rises above the horizon. I make my way through a city in chaos, carefully observing what is happening on the streets. The commoners are taken to the squares in droves. The rebels are determined to seize their freedom or die trying. With every passing minute I see more and more people carrying banners, the mark of the last straw, a hand clutching a lantern. The conspirators have left the shadows at last. They hand out guns to the common folk, using these last precious minutes to quickly teach them how to fire them. The nobles remain divided. The old noble bloodlines have sided with Dorio Soton, dickheads. The Arctian has sworn to bring down the revolt by any means necessary. His noble militia now stands guard in the Civil District, where the city's most eminent aristocrats have their homes. Many nobles of the mantle are all too eager to violate the oath of fealty and side with the rebels. They no longer want to suffer under the boot of the high-born Arcnians and human gentry. There are many more who are still undecided, soldiers and low-ranking officers of the Legion from the city's garrison, officials and functionaries. They have all found themselves caught between the Overseer's orders and the People's Revolt. Many of them are biding their times. The prefecture has yet to react. The city prefect Sorrelborn still has not made it clear which side he is on. Even the clergy has been swept up in the strife. Okay. I have had 8 years to carry influence among the people of the city. It is time to put my connections to the test. I can actually become a rebel now. The rebel, sorry. I can incite a riot among the Legion troops. But obviously that's not what I'm gonna do. Seeing as I'm obviously the most awesome nobleman around, I'm gonna unite the nobles. Under my banner. There is no stopping this revolt until the aristocracy employs their power and leverage to aid Gaius Tempest and his legion. They need unity. They need a leader. I use these last few hours of quiet to send messengers to the most eminent families in Anizot. The El Brantes are the Overseer's most loyal servants. I am the voice of his will. By my order, all the noble families must gather at my estate, despite the unrest in the city. As noon draws closer, riders, carriages and guards armed to the teeth begin to gather by my gate. Never before has my family home been graced by such eminent guests. I used to play hide-and-seek in this very garden, and now the fate of Anizot will be decided here. The nobles eye one another with suspicion, the usual courtesy and decorum practically gone. Their hands rest on their sword hilts and they leap at every cry from the neighbor states. So, what's up, bitches? None too happy that you have spent all these years in pointless squabble and trying to fuck each other over? Well, now we get our just desserts, guys. The unthinkable has happened. The lowborn have rebelled, and now they threaten to destroy the current world order, even if it means drawing the wrath of the twins down upon us all. And more importantly, they are about to fuck our beloved city, like they're about to drown it in blood. And then they will spread over into the entire province and drown it in blood as well. At this troubling time, it falls upon Anizot's finest citizens, I'm talking about us, to cast aside our pride, our grudges, our general stupidity, and our old feuds. A cold, lordly voice ruthlessly cuts me short. Friedrich L. Laberius, the aging patriarch of one of Anizot's oldest human bloodlines, speaks. Those are some fine words, young Sir Brante, but we've all been locked away in a city swarming with malcontents. They have numerical superiority. I think we of the old blood know best when it comes to keeping us, our families, and the Empire safe. I lift my own sword skyward. Look, guys, I have worked really hard to get in my current position, to secure my family's future, and I'm not gonna lose it all because some filthy ass anarchists want to burn my city to the ground, and you finest citizens are too fucking selfish to do anything about it. I have had it with these motherfucking rebels in this motherfucking city. I am Bran L. Brante, and I am ready to personally lead the fight against the revolt. Everyone who stands here must remember our lot, the lot to rule. The nobility of Anizot may have squandered its energy on petty grudges, as the city sank into lawlessness and chaos, and I am not a saint either. I had my fair share of in this bullshit. I am partially responsible for what is happening right now because I have spent all those years just accumulating power and influence and wealth for myself, but nonetheless, now the noble estate must take some fucking responsibility for their own lives and for the lives of all the subjects of the empire. What do you say, guys? Now it's time for us all to prove that we deserve to rule, that the swords at our sides are not just for show, that we are not afraid to bear the burden of ruling the other two estates. This city has been entrusted to us, and only we can rescue it from the brink at this fateful hour. The nobles are stupefied at first, but they keep listening. Soon our swords are raised alongside yours. Mine, and our voices join my call. Foil Brante! For the Overseer! For the Emperor! Down with the motherfucking rebels! Yeah, motherfuckers, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, how about we prepare a plan to suppress revolt, because we need a Khan in clans, good sirs. Our strength must be concerted until Gaius Tempest arrives with his forces. When he does, we will strike at the rebels from within. For now, keep the messengers running, remain informed, and prepare for the decisive clash to come. The nobles accept my plan, vow to work together to save the city, and return to their homes to play their parts. The most esteemed bloodlines of Anizot have accepted me as their leader. Do I have what it takes to realize their hopes and guide them to victory? It is time to find out. Yeah, look at this. We have a verifiable army on our side, and we are an indisputable leader of nobles. This day will show whether we are worthy of our nobility of the sword, whether we are worthy of this lofty title. Yeah, I take the side of the defenders of the imperial government. Yeah, exactly. I like my imperial government, fine, thank you very much. Okay, so the thing here is that in the Revolt chapter you can have two types of victory. You can have peaceful victory and you can have military victory. Thing is, peaceful victory is obviously preferable because it allows to end this conflict without much bloodshed, and it also leads to a better ending in general. It's also true for the rebel path, like the peaceful victory for rebels is also better than the military one. So what do we need? We need a lot, guys. We need to gain support from clergy, we need to gain support from common folk, actually. We need to establish strong power of overseer, well, obviously, and we need to lower the revolt rating back to 0. Not an easy thing to do, but we will try. A fading light. The sun rises higher and higher. My carriage is hurtling down the street, making its way through the crowd with great difficulty. I have to reach the prefecture as soon as I can. Any word from Sir Elborn could determine the allegiance of the judges and the gendarmes. The silver district is empty now. I smell smoke. A noble house must have been set on fire nearby. All I can hear is a fountain burbling in a small square, mixed with gentle melodic laughter. Stop! Stop the carriage! Those graceful movements, that clothing so light and airy, rays of the sun dance and glitter on its golden skin. That hot, carefree day flashes before my eyes, the sound of a carriage on the cobblestones. A handkerchief dropped on the ground, the day I first met my lover, Octavia Melanides. This creature, does it still have anything in common with a prideful Arcnian lady I met here all those years ago? The creature is laughing. I come closer. I feel a strange, involuntary sense of calm next to this bizarre creature. She raises her large, pitch-black eyes to me. Do you see it all crumbling now? It's the old world dying, collapsing under its own weight. Do not fear it. It's not a bad thing. This is how it has to be. You live in the dream of the one called Octavia Melanides, human who bears the name of Brante. This dream will end soon, and then it will all be gone. Your empire, your estates, your lots, your shining pillar. And you, human named Brante, will be gone too, and the great mind of the Latari will leave this dream and move on, beyond all borders, beyond all limits. What great joy that moment will bring us. This being is not of this world, and it is utterly helpless, especially here in Anizot in the middle of a rebellion. Fate of the woman I knew as Octavia Melanides is in my hands now. So we can't get her out of the city because we actually need to be pals with Dora Soton. No, thank you very much. We can't share a final moment with her because we do not have a spiritual bond with her. All we can do is either to hand her over to the Inquisition. It will actually get us support of the clergy, or we can simply part ways with her. Practically speaking, it would be very clever, very smart thing to do to hand her over to the Inquisition and get some allies among the priests. But though she feels betrayed by me and does not like me very much, and we had quite a fallout, Bran still held affection for Octavia. He can't do this to her. He can't. So all I can do is accept this loss and part ways. It might cost me the game, actually, because I am afraid I might not be able to get this additional support from the clergy, but I can't do this. I can't leave her to the Inquisition. I can't. I remain silent. The fate of this bizarre creature is none of my concern now. She can follow her inscrutable path on her own. It hangs her head in sorrow. The saddest thing about the death of this world human named Bran Brante is that you are so tightly bound to it. You will burn along with it. We will mourn you as you fade away. Goodbye forever. Farewell, my blueberry cake. It hops from the edge of a fountain and onto the cobblestones. It walks away down an empty street. Still you are wrong, blueberry cake. This world is worth saving. It has many wonders and horrors and beauties within it. And I'm not gonna give up on it so easily. By the twins, I will not. I will try to save it today. I shake my head and retch myself back to reality. Elborn, the prefecture. I need to hurry. Octavia left this world without trace. And so ends our love story. Sir Elborn's choice. It is noon. A large crowd has gathered in the prefecture square. The gendarmes form a line in front of the stairs, clutching their cudgels nervously. The commoners keep coming, the mob keeps growing. Elborn sides with the people! Gendarmes, judges, join us! The people need you, it's now or never! The rebelling citizens demand the prefect takes a side. This decision must not be made without me, I have to get inside. Oh, Sir Brante, I thought you'd been captured. Man, let the judge through. Oh, Linat, so happy to see you. So glad you're alive. My trustworthy captain. Tell the judges to make up their minds. The people haven't attacked us yet, but you never know. I understand. Trust me. I'll do what I can. The main hall of the prefecture is stuffy and crowded. Almost every judge in the province is here now, save for those who stayed home or fled the city in advance. Cowards. Most of them demand that the prefect disperse the crowd. Augustine Elborn is on the podium in the courtroom. No! I will not seek the gendarmes on the people. It is the prefecture's duty to listen to the emperor's subject, not force them to be silent. If we disperse this crowd, it will only fan the flames. And what of the overseer's orders, Sir Prefect? We have to quash the revolt while we still can. Tell the gendarmes to do their duty and protect the city from these riots. Or do you want this so-called people's court to hang us all? Have you forgotten about the last straw and that freak Sophia? They're executing people left and right as though they're wielding the divine law. Do you really think you will be spared? The judges applaud from Graben, even those I believe to be the prefect's most ardent supporters. This unrest needs to be quelled with words, not clubs. If we turn this demonstration into a bloodbath, there will be no stopping the carnage. Elborn tries to respond, but cries of outrage drown out his words. The prefect frowns in consternation. He casts another glance around the courtroom and notices me standing in the doorway. So if we simply await Elborn's decision, nothing good happens. We obviously can't convince Elborn to side with the rebellion because we are a defender of the empire. We can support Elborn's plan or condemn him. Condemning Elborn will actually give us the support of common folk for some reason. I guess because we will order to beat the shit out of these commoners and they will be scared of us. Actually, interesting fact, our promise to Elborn held some weight after all. Because we have enough sympathy for him, we have good enough relations with him to support him. Look guys, I'm gonna do something really strange here. I have betrayed Elborn all those years ago. I never held, almost never held that high an opinion of him. But what is happening now, this is disgraceful. Like, Elborn is actually reasonable here. He actually tries to reason with the people, and these judges, they're just fucking cowards. So it's really strange, really weird. His most ardent supporters betray him now, and I, the man who betrayed him earlier, I'm gonna protect him and stay by his side. Bran Brante is really going for this redemption arc, guys. Yeah. I start elbowing through the agitated crowd of judges and make my way up to the podium. I stand to Elborn's right. He acknowledges me with a friendly nod. Elborn is such a noble man, like, his opinion on us didn't even worsen because of our betrayal. Like, we confessed our wrongdoings to him, and still he has a degree of sympathy for us. This is great. Let Judge Elbrante speak. Really brave judges I see before me now, yeah. Real bravery and nobility, guys. I say Sir Prefect is right. I was never that loyal a supporter to Sir Elborn, but right now we need to talk to the people. He is absolutely right and sensible. We need to convince them. Every commoner knows the name Elborn. They respect the prefect because, unlike us, selfish fuckers, he actually tried to do something about this province. He was right this entire time, and we were wrong, and now we must own up to our mistake. So, let the prefect speak to the people. They will listen to him. This is the only way to prevent more riots, I say. The judges respond uneasily. Have you lost your mind, Brante? The revolt is already here and can't be stopped. Wasting more time trying to convince the people is the same as helping the rebels. Enough, sir, for grabbing. I am still the prefect. We will negotiate with the crowd outside. This is my final decision. The prefect has managed to regain his composure and confidence thanks to my support. What a strange twist of fate, I must say, but I like it. I really like this. I like us trying to redeem ourselves even though we screwed up so badly. No one will dare to question Elborn's actions directly now. For Graben is still fuming, he stares daggers at me. Well done, Brante. You have finally shown yourself the mangy cur you are. You may have convinced the prefect, but no true nobleman will ever side with you. Oh, for Graben, you shouldn't have said these meany things about me, because as soon as this is all over, I'm so gonna summon your fat ass to the Court of Honor, and you're gonna be so dead even your testicles are about to get executed. So me, Elborn, and the gendarmes leave the courtroom and step out onto the stairs of the prefecture. The mob clamors loudly upon our arrival. People of Anizot, you all know that I have fought for justice for the common people as the prefect of Magre. Right now, I am asking you all to trust me. Do not take up arms. Do not listen to those last straw fags. Do not riot or commit senseless acts of violence. Keep order in our city. Allow me to negotiate with Overseer Tempest. The mob buzzes again, this time in outrage. Whose side are you on, Elborn? The peoples of Overseers? Are you telling us to bow down and wait for the Legion to come slaughter us? The prefect urges them to remain calm. You have already started this revolt and showed the Overseer that times have changed. The common estate is a powerful force, a force to be reckoned with, a force to be negotiated with. But blood and death will change nothing. It will only bring the Legion down upon you and your families. The crowd is split. Some continue to demand that the prefect take their side, others, however, begin to shout in his favor, insisting that the revolt can be resolved peacefully without bloodshed. Their former unity is no more. Elborn is about to give me a chance to speak when I suddenly hear hooves clacking toward the square, coming from the Silver District. Confusion and fear ripple through the crowded square. The riders are coming! It's Otton and his noble militia! Oh, we actually lose a point of noble trust, but still, nobles trust us pretty well. We have lowered the revolt, which is good, and we have gained some support of the common folk, because, yeah, Elborn is awesome. And we are kinda awesome too, because we have supported him and protected him in his time of need. Really making up for our villainous deeds. Okay, the Syrian sun looms high in the sky above the rebellious city. The square in front of the prefecture is packed with commoners. They are terrified. They fear the noble army that is coming for them. Hooves thunder against the cobblestones. The earthquakes beneath their feet. The noble militia led by Doriel Soton carves a path through the human sea. The terrified rebels scatter as the riders approach. The prefect calls out to the crowd, his voice hoarse. Everyone stay calm, let them through, do not draw your weapons. Otton's riders push the mob aside and eventually reach the tall building. The Arknian commander draws in his reins, only when the gendarmes all that separate him from the prefecture stairs. Prefect Elborn, how dare you disobey the orders of a province's rightful rulers? You have abused your position to appease the rebels and defy imperial rule. This inconceivable rebellion is your fault. It is time for you to accept your well-earned punishment. In the name of Archduke Milanidas, I hereby order you and your gendarmes to surrender your weapons. Where the fuck is Archduke Milanides? Like, what does he have to do with anything? Okay? I only obey the laws of the Empire, Sir Otton. Not you or your runaway Archduke. Elborn has balls. Excellent. You have had your chance to save face, old man. Instead of a dignified execution, you and your cronies will hang, like the foul rebel you've betrayed us for. Okay, Otton lifts his sword skyward, prepared to order an assault. With gendarmes ready their clubs, the mob begins to shift. The gendarmes will not stand a chance against the noble cavalry. The fate of this moment hangs by a thread. Okay, the only thing we can do is to challenge Otton to a duel, because the Court of Honor ending of the peacetime chapter opens up this path for us. Well, to everyone's surprise, I walk confidently through the ranks of the generals. Well, not that confidently, really, I'm scared shitless, but anyway, the noblemen know who I am. Good sirs, I am a loyal servant of the Emperor and the Overseer, just like Sir Elborn. Darius Otton, however, has been stripped of his rank in disgrace by the Court of Honor. He no longer has any right to command the militia. The Overseer has spoken, so I must ask you, good sirs, basically, what the fuck are you doing right now? What is this insolence? Otton makes his coarse prance a menacing sight. Once a filthy commoner, always a filthy commoner, eh, Brante? You orchestrated this dishonorable duel. It means nothing to true noblemen, and it never will. You hear him, good sirs? A noble tradition, a sacred, ancient tradition means nothing to this man. If you truly wish to side with the Overseer and his just rule, abandon this selfish petty motherfucker at once and accept my command. This is treason, Brante! You? You of all men dare accuse me of treason. I refuse to suffer such an indignity. Darius Otton, I, Bran of the El Brantes, challenge you to a sacred duel. If I emerge victorious, the noble militia will recognize me as the leader. Should you prevail, Elborn will surrender the prefecture without a fight. Otton sneers and casts a glance at the prefect. Elborn's eyes meet mine. He hesitates. He has spent years struggling against the ancient right of the duel. Sir Prefect, please. Please, I'm putting my own life on the line for you, for the prefecture. Please, let me make up for my previous mistakes. Please. So be it. Let the trial of honor begin. Yes! Otton gets down from his horse. At last, Brante. I can't believe how long it's taken me to finish you off. The stunned mob parts. I draw my sword and step toward my nemesis. The time has come for my final battle, my fucking favorite scene in the entire revolt, the duel with Otton. I like it. The prefect's voice booms over the square, raspy with tension. The greatest enemy of the right of single combat has no choice but to announce the duel. Darius of the Otton dynasty and Bran of the El Brante bloodline will now cross swords in mortal combat. Mortal combat! Sorry. I summon their ancestors to bear witness to the duel. May their blood tides meet in sacred battle and determine the truth. May the younger witness our trial and behold the power of his inevitable law. The mob falls silent. Me and my foe are about to clash in a merciless battle. You've got quite the nerve, Brante, crossing the lines like that. I know that full well. But how you will fare in a real fight? Ha! Before finishing his sentence, he lunges at me with a rising slash swift as a venomous snake. I vividly recall how he tried the same trick on Gaius Tempest, so I lean to the left quickly, dodging the mortal blow. Otton strikes again, faster than lightning. I managed to parry his lunge, yet the Arknian's inhuman strength ultimately overwhelms me. He pushes until the edge of his blade bites into my shoulder. Ow! Cold steel slices through my jacket and sinks into my flesh. With a burst of strength, I shove Otton's blade away. The two of us stand face to face, panting loudly. Warm blood drips down onto my clothes. There are whispers on the mob. El Brante's done for. Why did he even challenge an Arknian? Your blood is weak, Brante. But what do you expect? Once a commoner, always a commoner. Your grandfather was born a peasant, and your father never became a true nobleman. Slowly Otton creeps toward me, preparing to strike again. His sword flashes in the light of the sun, heralding my impending demise. The next moment will decide the outcome of the duel. I don't even want to comment anything, guys. Just watch. Just watch. My arms feel like they're made of lead. The sword is unbelievably heavy. My swordsmanship will never compare to Otton's. Actually, we had option to defeat Otton by skill, but I think this option is much more logical because Arknians are inherently better swordsmen than humans. Like Otton is faster and stronger and just inherently better at this than me. But the Court of Honor is more than just a contest of swordsmanship. I am not facing him alone. I hold still and wait, watching his every move. He leans forward slightly. I quickly step back. Trying to run away from me, Brante? I am afraid it's too late for that. I take a swing, but my blade slices nothing but air. I hop backwards. I brace myself and stop breathing, waiting for the next strike. Don't listen to him. Sir Gregor? I take a deep breath. The steel band I felt around my chest is suddenly shattered. Sir Gregor, I can't defeat him. I can't beat him. That's impossible. You're every bit the man he is, grandson. You are Bran el Brante, a noble of the sword. You are the one who has ennobled our bloodline for all of time. Now prove you are worthy to bear this name. I square my shoulders and then exhale. Calmly and confidently. Use the Force, Luke. The Force will be with you. Keep your feet steady. Get a sword up. I am here with you. And our feint distracts my nemesis. I push the advantage. Quick step forward. A lunge. A strike. The tip of my sword reaches Otton's face. A longer blade would have pierced his head. Mine leaves a mark. Otton jumps back. Dark blue blood slowly begins to ooze out of a fresh cut on his cheek. Stunned, he wipes it off with the palm of his hand. Pathetic human runt. That's it, I'm done playing with you. He leaps forward, determined to finish this. Don't just fend him off, attack him. I taught you to endure any suffering, survive any punishment. This is no time for second thoughts. You need to punish with arrogant fool. His blood tide has degenerated over time. It's dried up, tainted. But our blood runs fresh and strong, my grandson. Power beyond imagination fills my limbs. I move without waiting for Otton to strike. I no longer wield the blade. It wields me. My grandfather was more than just a commoner, Otton. He was a great man, worthy of my respect. Steel screeches against steel as house walls collide. Otton manages to deflect the blow, but the staggering force of the impact wrenches his blade from his hands. The crowd around us gasps in awe. Otton looks at his empty hand in disbelief. How in the... I lunge quickly and run the highborn Arknian through. He sways from side to side, both hands clutching the blade of his sword. No! No! Curse you! Curse all humans! You have forgotten your place! I am proud of you, grandson. Remember your bloodline always, and it will remember you. Now go, Fight for Anizot with pride. Victory awaits you. I'm sure of it. I love you, Grandpa Gregor. You evil, violent, miserable fucker. I love you so much. Thank you, Grandpa. I will not fail our bloodline. I will not fail our name. Our noble name. Okay, the Arcanian warrior sways slightly to the side once more, then falls flat on his back. The trial of honor is at an end. He will not return from the hereafter. The duel is over. Bran of the El Brante bloodline is victorious, proven righteous in the younger side by sacred combat. The nobles are speechless. For the first time ever, an Arcanian has fallen to a human in combat. Good sirs, it is time for you to keep your word. Swear loyalty to the Overseer, and accept me as your interim commander. One by one the noble riders bend the knee and take an oath of fealty to me. From this moment forth, until Overseer Gaius Tempest returns to Anizot to reinstate his lawful rule, I will command his army. Sir Prefect, please, address the people. There are tears in Elborn's eyes. I had rather abandoned my vision than condemned my city to the flames of rebellion. People of Anizot, I, Prefect Elborn, remain ever loyal to the Emperor and his Overseer, His Grace Gaius Tempest. The Prefecture shall continue to maintain law and order in this city, along with the noble militia. You must seize all dissent at once, return to your homes, and await the Overseer's mercy. And I promise you all a better life and justice in the future. Those who remain outside and loot our people's property will face due punishment at the hands of the gendarmes. The mob obeys. The people disperse without the need for force. With the prefecture gendarmes fighting side by side with a noble militia, they do not stand a chance. Elborn casts a mournful, defeated gaze over the square. Your skill is astonishing, Elbrante. It makes it all the sadder that you had to resort to manslaughter to prevail in this struggle. I have worked so hard to suppress this criminal custom. But all the blame falls squarely on me, and I am ready to accept it. There was no other way. Elborn, we might not see eye to eye about noble traditions and sacred rules of honor, but you did well. You did what you had to, and you did well for these people. I think we will remember you, and remember you well. Look at the price we have had to pay. We have paid to save the city from ruin, Elbrante. I can only hope that sacrificing our principles will be worth it in the end. I suppose now is not the time for regret. You should head to the Silver Tree. Leonard's procession must be en route to the Silver Tree by now. The enemies of the new faith are waiting there, weapons in hand. They will massacre each other unless we stop them. More fire and blood is the last thing we need. But if Leonard is pronounced the new patriarch, the revolt will gain a powerful leader. We won't stand a chance if that happens. You will have to make a choice there, Elbrante. It won't be easy. It never is, Elborn. I have to be at the Silver Tree. Good luck, sir. May the twins be kind to us today. I muster my loyal forces and head for the tree. Ottan, finally defeated, finally killed in a duel. He was no match for my bloodline and for my grandfather. My grandfather was too stubborn and proud to let even death prevent him from lending a hand. Defender of the Empire. Yes. Yes, we have moderate support from common folk. Like, yes, common folk trusts us. Like, we suppressed the revolt. We are suppressing the revolt as peacefully as possible. Great. We are doing good, guys. We are doing good. The march of the new faith. An enormous sea of humanity flows through Anizot, filling the streets of the temple district. They are led by Abbot Leonard. The new believers walk peacefully behind him, many of them women and the elderly. They are unarmed. Their faces show neither fear nor anger. They are so drastically unlike the throngs of rebels who are currently ransacking streets and looting noble houses. The procession slowly makes its way toward the temple at the Silver Tree. Every 8 years it falls upon the Patriarch to proclaim in the sight of the twins how the world is humbly following the lot it has been given. Today dozens of priests have come to the temple in spite of the unrest to conduct the rite and spare the twins' world from their wrath. But now thousands of commoners are walking to the same temple to elect the new Patriarch themselves. So the argument here is who should elect the new Patriarch, the clergy or the people, the commoners? We take a side street to the temple, avoiding the immense procession. The square by the tree is packed, teeming, overwhelmed, but the stairs to the temple doors cannot be reached. A stalwart phalanx of champions of faith blocks the way, with Sister Jeanne in the lead. They are joined by the Inquisitors. I will not allow you into the temple, Leonard. These heretics will not make you Patriarch. Father Leonard simply faces her with a humble smile and gestures at the people standing behind him. Doubt clouds the champions' faces. Leonard's procession is truly staggering. Even if they are unarmed and empty-handed, there are simply too many of them to be stopped by a few dozen old believers. Sister Jeanne, look at them. Are they truly heretics? All of them? We are just people, our brothers and sisters in faith. Why would the Inquisition treat us like enemies? We do not reject the twin gods. Nay, we seek them with our every thought. You reject the law of the younger when you choose to seek your own lots. No, Jeanne. The only thing we reject is this Atius error. This argument has been going on for years, Leonard. I know each and every point you can make. Don't even bother. You will not enter the temple. All these people, you are just dragging them down to the foot of the pillar along with you. How can you still not understand this after so many years? What do you think you're doing, Leonard? Don't you fear the wrath of the gods? I do not, Jeanne. When I become Patriarch, I will tell the twins that we still love and revere them, just as we always have, even as we seek a different path to them. The twins will hear us, they will listen, they will understand. There will be no wrath of the gods. The new believers begin to firmly ascend the stairs to the door of the temple. Jeanne watches the massive congregation approach her, her eyes filled with remorse. She raises an arm, ready to give the final order. Champions of faith, protect the sacred temple. Fight to the bitter end. This is my last chance to intervene, and unfortunately on the noble path there is no chance to resolve this scene peacefully. We have only two options. Fend them off with the champions of faith, drive the commoners away from the sacred temple, or walk away. And walk away is horrible because the order will drop down and the revolt will increase drastically. I really don't want to fight these unarmed commoners. I really don't want to push them back, to attack them, but it's not like I have much of a choice. My duty demands it. There can never be peace between the Inquisition and the new believers. The dispute between them has been going on for years. Neither side will ever yield to the other. Right now there is only one thing I can do. Rescue as many of them as I can from what is to come. Go, in the name of the Younger! The champions of faith obey Jeanne's order. They get into formation and begin advancing on the new believers, weapons in hand. The unarmed mob recoils in fear, but those in the front row are pushed from behind and driven onto the blaze. Oh no. Blood splatters onto the stairs of the sacred temple. A woman's scream of rage rends the momentary silence. Murderers! Chaos breaks loose. The champions of faith try to advance on the people, but the enraged horde will not be driven back. They rush at the warriors, trying to break their ranks by sheer force, dragging or knocking them to the ground one by one. No! Stop! Do not do this! Do not resort to bloodshed! The abbot does his best to rein in his flock, but they will not listen. Fucking new believers, deceived by pleasant platitudes. Now, I shout to my followers. My people join the fight. Side by side with the champions of faith, we try to hold back the commoners. They are unarmed, but they greatly outnumber us. Hold the line! Hold the line! Behind us, the Inquisitors raise thin silver slabs and shout incantations. Flurries of silver sparks spread across the front lines of a jostling mob, binding them with the power of the twins. They collapse, but others immediately take their place. Hold the line! Every minute of this fight feels like an eternity. Eventually, the furious onslaught seems to subside. I catch a glimpse of Jen. She clutches her sword, then breaks the line and dashes forward with a fearsome cry. Oh no, she is not allowed to take up arms. She is a priest. What is she doing? She is headed straight for Leonard. The abbot struggles to remain on his feet in the frenzied human storm raging around him. Leonard meets Jen with a confused look. His arms move slowly, trying to shield his face. It is too late. The Inquisitor strikes. At the last possible moment, the rage on Jen's face gives way to terror. She leans into her swing with all her might and guides the blade aside. It slips out of her hand. I clearly hear the steel clatter against the marble slabs of the stairs. Oh, thank God she didn't shed an innocent blood. My child. A heavy stone flies through the air and hits Jen square in the side of her head. She yelps and falls down. I need to reach her before she is trampled. A mighty gust of wind rushes over the square. It roars, howls, almost screams, filled with remorse, agony, and wrath. An unearthly chill runs down my spine. This is it. This is the wrath of the gods. We have spilled blood on the sacred site, and there will be retribution. The earth begins to tremble beneath our feet. Before my very eyes, as though in some terrible nightmare, the roof of the sacred temple begins to shake, and the pillars start to sway back and forth. Oh gods! I scream at the top of my lungs, gesturing wildly to my followers and the Inquisitors. Fall back! Hurry! Follow me! The commoners try to flee the square. There is nowhere to run. Only the trunk of the silver tree offers some protection. Commoners are trampling one another. We rush to the white trunk as fast as we can. For several seconds, everything blends together. I fall flat on my back. Where the temple at the silver tree once stood, there is nothing. The grand, majestic structure is no more. It has been leveled to the ground. Remnants of its walls and roof are scattered across the square. But the massive trunk shielded us from the fallen rubble. A cloud of dust slowly settles upon the square. After the dust come the leaves, thousands and thousands of leaves shed by the silver tree. They cover the corpses of the truly dead like a pale, white shroud. The entire square glows as the bodies of those yet to be reborn dissolve into nothingness. There are so many that the light stings my eyes. Just how many people met their deaths today? I go to where I last saw Jeanne. I find her in a small space between two shattered slabs of stone. Her body shakes as she sobs uncontrollably. All is lost. All of it. Everything. I couldn't do it. Couldn't see it through the end. Do you understand? I betrayed them. I couldn't kill the heretics. The temple is gone because of me. The Inquisition is gone. This isn't so. The Inquisitors and the Champions are all safe. Leonard is dead, buried in the ruins of his own temple, but you were spared from the wrath of the gods. You did not betray your lot, Sister Jeanne. She grows silent. You don't understand. Just leave me be. The young woman walks away from me unsteadily. She stares at the ruins. The captain of the Champions of Faith approaches me. I'm afraid Sister Jeanne won't be able to command us from now on. My champions owe you their lives. What are your orders? I have to take the lead. I accept your service, Captain Agaranim. Get ready to move to Empire Square. Enormous crowds of people are already on their way there, about to choose the leader of the Anisot Rebellion. The sun begins to set. Jen is defeated. She failed in her struggle against the new faith. And Leonard is dead. Oh, we actually lost a point of common folk support. Which is bad. Bad. The rebel leader. The sun is setting. The blood-red sky quivers in the hot smoke from the fires raging throughout the city. I cannot help but recall a passage from the lives of the twins. And the elder said, "Lo, I have cast a flame into the world, and I shall guard it until it begins to blaze." Could this passage be referring to today? I lead my followers to Empire Square. I walk around the rubble past abandoned carriages and unfinished barricades. Thousands fill the square before the Chancellery, well over half the commoners of Anisot. The Chancellery has been under rebel control since noon. All Imperial officials either fled or were torn apart by the mob. Scraps of rumors and gossip reach my ears as I move closer. The twins got angry and destroyed them all under the tree. The temple is gone, I tells you, gone for good. The crowd is on edge. Any dispute could explode into a brawl. A voice from a Chancellor's stairs calls for another people's court. Several last-straw rebels drag a handful of well-dressed nobles out onto the steps and force them to their knees. The leader of the executioners is a preacher, with a mane of unkempt hair and the wild eyes of a lunatic. The younger, he speaks for us, he does. He gave us the power of his law, the power to punish our enemies, to execute them. Anyone who stands in our way is an enemy of the twins themselves. People, it is time to judge these enemies of the simple folk. What is your sentence? Death. True death. The last row rebels ready their guns. You dare call this pathetic freak show a people's court? You don't have the power, you never have and you never will. You think you can wield the law of the twins? Bah! We'll come back and we'll make you pay. His last words are drowned out by a thunderous volley of gunfire. This is Friedrich Laberius, the guy we spoke earlier at the morning. One by one the nobles collapse, their bodies pierced by bullets. They remain where they fall. There can be no doubt, the People's Court has the power to mete out true death at will. This is what will happen to anyone who dares to oppose us. All hail the revolt! All hail our leader! All hail Sophia! Sophia's gonna lead us. She's gonna fend off the legions. She's gonna bring justice. First to Anisot, then to the whole empire. She's gonna tear down the old ways and wipe all them tyrants and nobles from the face of the world. The mob explodes into an ecstatic chant. They shout one word over and over again. Sophia! 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 So, once again, not that many options. Do not get involved. Yeah, fuck not get involved. Break up the mob, motherfuckers. Enough of this bullshit. Sophia will not unite the mob around her leadership. Now is the time to strike. I seize the moment and command all my forces to begin an all-out attack on the square. My troops smash into the human sea in front of the Chancellery, hurling people aside and heckling through the throng as they advance. As I command them, I shout at the mob. Leave the streets, lowborn. Go home and you will be spared. Whoever stays here will face our blades. Barbarian's rebel did not see the attack coming. My forces are resilient and the crowd panics. The rebels have no choice but to flee. Yeah, flee you cowards, flee you filthy ass anarchists. Dozens of people fall to the ground and mindlessly just enthroned, only to be trampled by the fleeing horde. Blood rounds down the cobblestones. The corpses of those killed dissipate in shimmering mist. Before long, my men control the blood-splattered square. A voice simmering with rage soon cuts through the air from the direction of the Chancellery stairs. The last straw. Ready. Aim. Fire. Oh well, hello, Sophia. When I told you I want you to find your own path, I didn't mean exactly that, but nonetheless, nice to see you. Hey guys, you know, this is my girlfriend. Oh shit, this is my girlfriend, my first girlfriend. Okay, rebel squads dash out of the Chancellery, firearms in hand. The volleys come in quick succession. A hail of bullets hits the square, sparing no one from either side. Commoners trying to escape die along with my soldiers. I am losing men. I cannot advance on the Chancellery in the face of a gunfire, because they have guns, we only have swords and lances. Retreat! Retreat! The deed is done. We lost too many men and Sophie is still running amok, but we managed to deal a resounding blow against the revolt and shatter the rebels' morale. The news that I dispersed the mob at Empire Square spread throughout across the city like wildfire. The nobility and old faith clergy celebrate this victory, more eager than ever to keep fighting by my side. A report soon arrives from the scouts at the gate. The Legion is only a few hours away. Will the outcome of the revolt be decided in combat, or is there a peaceful solution? It all depends on the actions we take in the coming hours. Okay, Overseer is firmly in power. Order is slightly increased, still a lot of unrest. We lose several troops, but we are an indisputable leader of nobility and clergy, and the revolt is done for. Rebels are losing. Nice. The final hour. It is mere moments from midnight. The glow of a shining pillar is barely visible behind the crimson clouds coming in from the north. The darkness hanging above the city is dissipated by countless lights. Crowds of people holding torches, stakes burning in the squares, houses in flames. The Legion marches down the road, approaching the gate of the city in the throes of the rebellion. The final battle draws near. All the troops still loyal to the Overseer and the Empire are flocking to the ruins of Charmilandus' palace, where we have established our base. I used to play here as a child. I convinced Gloria here to accept her marriage. Now it serves as a base of operations for the fight against the insurgents. Armored nobles assemble into squadrons. Some hastily armed commoners who do not trust the rebels have agreed to follow them. The priests who have sided with me are preparing to appeal to the insurgents and exhort them to lay down their arms in the name of the twins. The insurgents have gained a foothold by the city gate, and preparations are in full swing at their camp as well. Their fate will be decided soon. Will they win their freedom or endure brutal retribution? There will be no freedom if they win, only bloodshed and massacres, and these kangaroo courts, the people courts. What the fuck is people courts anyway? Okay, there's almost no time left. Okay, what can we do in this final hour? We can save our strength and do nothing. Actually, if had we reconciled with Dorius Otton, we could have asked him for additional troops. Okay, let's see. What do we need to achieve the surrender of a revolt, the peaceful victory? Just 1 point of common folk. We need to have 2 points of common folk. We have for common folk to trust us. And what do we have now? 1. What if I go see Elborn? Yes. Okay. While the city squares are consumed by unrest, the defenders of the Empire will be too busy breaking up street brawls to assist the Legion. I need to do all I can to break up the gangs of rebelling commoners. I take a few trusted men and head to the prefecture. Elborn greets me on the stairs, surrounded by gendarmes. Sir Prefect, please, place those men under my command. It is a matter of utmost importance. Elborn nods somberly and turns to the defenders of law and order. Gendarmes, when you began your service at the prefecture, it was not to take up arms against the simple folk. We came here to maintain order and defend our citizens against lawlessness, whatever they state. But a dark day is upon us. It is our duty to save Anizot from chaos and destruction. We have been unable to convince the insurgents with words, so now your clubs will have to do the talking for you. Purge the streets of rebellion, pave the way for the Overseer's army. Bran Brante will lead you. Elborn did all he could to convince commoners to disperse and leave the streets. Anyone who is still on the streets looting another people's property or generally making a ruckus, the blame is on them. It's time for me to take action. An intimidating cordon of gendarmes marches down the main streets of the city, beating their clubs against their shields in a measured rhythm. I lead the squadron, dispersing the rebellious crowds and dismantling barricades as I go. The gentlemen swing their clubs right and left, quickly routing those who resist them. Over the course of an hour, we managed to quash disturbances in a significant portion of Anizot's main squares. But the insurgents' main forces have established a foothold by the city gate. The gendarmes' numbers are not sufficient to attack them. I hope we now go side by side with our trusty captain, Captain Linat. I love this guy. Where is he? Do we have any relations with him? Oh, we have. Yeah. I like this guy, Captain Linat. Midnight strikes. We can hear the menacing tread of a legion outside the city walls. The time has come. The revolt is basically defeated at this point, and the common folk is nice and trusting us. The battle for Anizot. The dark void beyond the walls of Anizot is lit by hundreds of lights. Heavy boots tread the soil, armor clanks. Lit by the glow of the torches, the Magran Legion approaches the city walls. Gaius Tempest himself leads the legion. It is the overseer's duty to crush the revolt this very night and pacify the city. An entire city rebelling against imperial rule. Nothing like this has happened for generations. The people of Anizot tremble in fear before the punishment that will befall them if the legion wins. I have done my utmost to crush the revolt on the streets. The crowds in the squares have been dispersed. The riots and fires have stopped. The armed commoners clamoring for freedom at the sunset have now scattered and locked themselves in their homes. But the main forces of the revolt have not been defeated yet. There are still many insurgents who are ready to fight to the true death for their cause. The soldiers of our last straw, reckless conspirators and dangerous fighters taught by Sophia to struggle against the old order. Zealous new believers who would rather face execution than betray their faith. Poor nobles and former legion soldiers who had joined the revolt in violation of the oath of loyalty to the empire. They have nothing to lose. The remaining rebel forces have gathered at a fortified base by the city gate. The rebels have surrounded with barricades, preparing to repel an attack from either side. But the rest of the city no longer supports them, that's what's important. The legion gets into formation in front of the gate. A herald from Gaius Tempest comes forward. My subjects, lay down your arms this instant and open the gate. I know that you have been deceived by the insurgency. You have my word as an Archnean ruler that I will spare anyone who aids the legion and turns over the leaders of the revolt. Should you disobey this order from your lawful ruler, none of you will escape disgrace, execution, and eternal torment at the foot of a shining pillar. The legion herald proudly lifts his head, awaiting the rebels' decision. The next hour will determine my place in history. Okay, can we... Yes. Yes. Yes, guys. Yes, we can. And an interesting fact is that crushing the rebels' military does not improve the wealth of Magra, but forcing them to surrender does. And actually, because we have saved the Dieworks guy from ruin all those years ago, the wealth of Magra will finally be at 7 affluence. Nice. This is how I save my city. The rebels shot the herald sent by Gaius Tempest. Very unsportsman-like. The legion is about to attack. The rebels' defenses are too secure, not even the legion can take the city in a single assault. The offensive will be repelled, without fail. Anizot is in for a lengthy siege, the revolt will continue to fester. I cannot let that happen. I will use my influence to stop the revolt without further bloodshed. I take the lead of a gigantic procession composed of my supporters. Guarded by loyal troops, we march through the empty streets to the insurgent camp. Nobles, clergymen, commoners, all the estates of the city follow me to demand an end for the revolt. We reach the square by the city gate. The rebel camp is encircled by a row of barricades. No one dares to attack us yet. I hear the leader of the insurgents, her voice hoarse. Damn it, everybody, defend the camp! Fire! But instead of gunshots, I only hear grumbling from the barricades. Are you deaf? Shoot them! Or do you want them to take away your rights and make you all slaves again? I step toward the barricades. The square behind me is packed with people of all estates. Insurgents, the entire city of Anizot is against your rebellion. The city will return to lawful imperial rule this very day. Lay down your weapons, surrender, and beg the overseer for mercy. You are heavily outnumbered. The city is on my side. Behind me, the crowd bellows loudly, "Down with revolt! Surrender! No more blood!" I shout to Sophia's confused soldiers. This chaos and destruction will not save you. Sophia is a mad woman. She has used you to fan the flames of the revolt, but she cares not for you. All the people of Magra will get from this insurrection is more suffering. Is this what you want? Renounce your loyalty to Sophia, turn her over, lay down your arms, and you will be spared. I give you my word. Never! You knew this moment would come, man! We'll fight to the end! Freedom or death! The massive mob freezes involuntarily. The leader of the revolt comes down from the wall, her eyes aglow with a furious yellow light. People, this imperial lapdog is lying to you. If you believe Brante, you will be slaves forever. He's trying to scare you with fire and destruction, but isn't that what you signed up for? We're gonna destroy the old order, we're gonna level it to the ground. The most loyal of Sophia's supporters raise their guns, but ours cannot withstand the pressure. Refusing to follow Sophia's order, they drop their weapons, one after another. If you ain't with us, you're against us. Die, traitors! A fight breaks out within the insurgent camp as Sophia and her loyal soldiers attack the defectors. Gunshots, cries, smoke, yellow sparks. And eventually it comes to an end. The remaining insurgents emerge from behind the barricades, their hands in the air. Sophia is thrown at my feet. Hello, sweetheart. Her arms bound, the rebel glares at me from behind a mass of tangled hair. Don't get your hopes up, Brante. The fire I started will rage again soon enough. You and this whole monstrous world are gonna burn. Bitter tears run down Sophia's cheeks. For a split second, I see the frightened girl from next door, pursued by terrifying horsemen. I look away. Overseer Gaius Tempest will decide your fate now. The resistance has been crushed. Even the most ardent last straw fighters surrender their weapons grimly. The rest of the insurgents flee the walls, trying to escape down back alleys. They are not followed. Enough blood has been spilled today. The people gathered in the square shout loudly, "Victory! Victory! Bran Brante! Glory! Glory!" Open the gate. It swings open, creaking heavily. I stand before the gathering in the square and await the arrival of the overseer. My lord, your orders have been carried out. The order in the city was swiftly restored. The rebel leaders are captured and await your supreme judgment. Tonight, I have saved my city, extinguishing the flames of a rebellion that threatened to spread across the entire empire. My destiny has been fulfilled. So, I will go down in history books after all. The surrender of the revolt. Nice. Nice.
The revolt was crushed. And it was I who restored order in Enizote. Mine was a victory for all of the Empire.
A new day dawns. It is morning. I stumble along a now empty back street, utterly exhausted after the most trying night of my life. An elderly stranger in a threadbare cloak shambles down the road in the opposite direction. The old man looks around cautiously at every step, seemingly struggling to remember where he is going. "Good morning to you." I wearily returned his greeting. "Yeah, you take care, old man." May I ask you for a favor, my friend? I barely have any energy to waste, but there's something about this man's voice that compels me to listen. What kind of favor? Well, my brother and I had a disagreement, you see, and I want to know who was right. My brother says this world is already perfect as it is. The twins made it like this after all. He pauses, casting a glance over the street, the charred carcasses of buildings and homes, the overturned carriages, the dried bloodstains on the paving stones. And I told my brother that, no matter what the initial design might have been, the world as it is now needs to change. So then my brother asked me what exactly needs changing, but I had no answer for him. So here I am, wandering around, tormented by this question. Would you help us settle our dispute, my good man? Who is in the right here, me or my brother? If you were in the twins' place, what would you do? What about this world needs changing? Lots of options. But seeing as Bran Brante's story in general is about redemption and owning up to his mistakes and redeeming himself for his mistakes, and also because Nathan, my answer is pretty obvious. I rub my temples thinking. The last words I heard from Nathan. He spoke of forgiveness. I have an answer for you, old man. Between gods know no mercy, and that is why this world is flawed. The twins granted us their law in order to steer us away from eternal suffering in the afterlife. They granted us the lots and the causes, our callings, with those with which we shape this world with our choices and actions. But this same law also dooms our souls to torment at the foot of the pillar for even the slightest transgression. And I don't know if the twins have checked out recently, but the lots are hard. The lots are hard to follow, no matter who you are. A high-born nobleman, a priest, a lowly commoner. It is hard to live by your lot. It is hard to change the world in right ways, by your cause, by your choices and actions. It is a hard road, and mistakes are inevitable. But now a man who commits a single error has no hope for redemption. Our existence is nothing more than an agonizing preamble to inevitable retribution. I doubt that this is really what the twins wanted for us, because then why give us free will at all? Why give us this breath of life, this will to struggle and pain and know joys and sorrows and love and friendship and hate and suffering? Why give us a free will if we are not allowed to make mistakes? We are filled with passions, doubts and desires. I know this as well as anyone. I have my fair share of mistakes and fuck-ups. If I were them, I would grant people forgiveness. At least to those who truly repent and make an effort to right their own wrongs. The elderly man listens carefully to my every word. His eyes are wide, like a child seeing the world around him for the first time. You know, someone else told me something very similar. A young man who was far too old and wise for his years. I can feel the pain and the truth in your words. Thank you, Bran, for settling our disagreement. The old man rewards me with a gentle smile and slowly walks away. Wait, how did he know my name? I spin around, but the street is empty. Spoilers, it was the elder twin. With my assistance, the Imperial Loyalists crush the rebellion in a single night without further bloodshed. After swiftly quelling the unrest in Anisot, Overseer Gaius Tempest restored order within the city's walls with an iron fist. All the leaders of the revolt met their final deaths at the end of the noose, but any rebels who surrendered before they had used their weapons against the Legion were granted mercy. The Arcanian ruler was as good as his word. After his swift victory, Gaius Tempest's authority grew stronger. Now that his subjects had been pacified, the eminent gentry and the Archduke's sympathizers no longer had a chance to stop him from ruling Magra as he saw fit. The province finally entered an age of peace. And yet, the overseer learned much from the lessons of the Anisot revolt. He realized that he had no choice but to address the woes of the lowly estate, lest further turmoil sweep across the land. Reforms! Finally! Gaius Tempest took advantage of his growing power and finally began his first careful reforms. The nobles' privileges remained unchanged, but little by little the common estate came to enjoy new protections under his rule. In time, the rest of the empire came to the same conclusion. The order established by the twins must remain unchanged, so there still will be lots. But if the realm wished to enjoy prosperity and peace, then everyone, from lowly commoner to highborn Arknian, must be protected equally by the strong arm of the law. For the first time in centuries there was change, albeit gradual change, guided by eminent nobles and the royal Tempest dynasty in their stern wisdom. The power struggle in the province was fierce, but in the end, Gaius Tempest remained the overseer of Magra. His authority suffered from the feud with Archduke Milanides and the years of unrest that preceded the revolt. And yet the Arknian lord had the wisdom to surround himself with loyal allies and garner support with the Magran nobles. No one could challenge the overseer's rule now. Magra is a part of the empire, and the Tempest dynasty has been chosen by the twins themselves to rule over it all. Such is their grand design, and so it shall be for all eternity. The clash between the old faith and the new continued. As the schism in the clergy grew, the people of Magra remained similarly divided. Neither doctrine has enough power to prevail over the other, so the venomous accusations and fervent disputes continue. The strife between the faiths will continue to fester. The people of the province and the empire will never be at peace until they decide which path of worship is the one that leads to the twins. Oh, the result of the reforms. Nice. The changes that swept across Magra brought down the age-old barriers that held the common people back, paving way for trade and industry. The new freedoms have made Magra one of the most prosperous lands of the empire, with new factories, mills, and trade routes appearing one after another. The city of Anisot soon becomes a vital trade hub, the only place to procure the best and newest commodities, tools, and factory equipment. The wealth of its citizens is unrivaled throughout the empire. After many long years of disorder and strife, the land of Magra finally found order and peace. The people grew weary of violence and turmoil of any kind. They came to respect the law and no longer fear to leave their homes. The chaos and hostility that once reigned are gone. The people of Anisot and Magra enjoy a long-awaited age of reconciliation. Divine omens. Nathan the prophet taught the people of the empire that anyone who violates the law of the twins should pray to them and ask their forgiveness. The people were reluctant to believe his words at first, until they saw the signs from the gods themselves. Every person who endured a lesser death and went to meet the twins now returned to the mortal world, bearing their glad tidings. The gods have learned what it means to forgive, and they shall grant forgiveness to all who sincerely repent and are prepared to right the wrongs they have done. The people of the empire now have hope, a promise of forgiveness, no matter their transgression. Yeah, what became of Darius Soton? What became of him? He is dead, and his blood tide ran dry. He was the last of his kind. Augustine Elborn did his duty as the highest judge in the province and maintained law and order in Anisot. He did all he could to curb the rebellion and put a stop to the chaos and bloodshed. The aged judge was rewarded for his service by Overseer Gaius Tempest, becoming a member of the Overseer's inner circle and his personal advisor, as he deserves. Bran understands it now. Elborn deserves this high position more than anyone. Together with his patron, Elborn worked to strengthen the rule of law and gradually granted the common estate more rights. Through Elborn's contribution, the barbaric traditions of the nobility were finally laid to rest. Sir Elborn died of old age surrounded by friends and allies. He is remembered as a prominent public official of the new age. Nice. Father Leonard is dead, obviously, and he is remembered as a priest who provoked the wrath of the twins and reduced the Empire's greatest holy place to rubble. Yeah, he did. By the time the revolt had set Anizot ablaze, Thomas Guerra was already living a new life with his family far from the city. He was finally able to enjoy a peaceful life. The chaos and riots in his home city never reached a sleepy village where my friend and his wife had put down roots. Thomas dedicated himself wholeheartedly to his family and his household. For the rest of his life, my old friend remembered me fondly, and he was always grateful for what I had done for him. He named his third-born son Bran Guerra. Actually, Thomas can return back to Anizot if the revolt wins with Sir Brante in charge, but this is the second happiest ending for Thomas to have. Like, we never meet again, but he lives a happy life and names his firstborn son after me. Still nice. The being that was once Octavia Milanides departed from this world forever without trace. It was as though neither the beautiful young Archean lady nor the enigmatic being she became ever existed. All the knowledge of the Latari was lost forever, along with the legacy of Octavia Milanides. Sophia is obviously executed, yeah. The main instigator of the rebellion was hanged in the main square of Anizot. Sophia's last words were a furious, desperate wail, "War, war to the end!" But the mob only booed and whistled at her, mocking her and her legacy. Many people of the Empire view her as a vicious murderer who was prevented from destroying the entire Empire. What became of the El Brante family? I defended the family home from the frenzied mob. Well, there was no frenzied mob to speak of because we have quelled the revolt way before any sin could trigger where our family is attacked. Nonetheless, the El Brante family remained aloof from the struggle on that fateful day. Thanks to my efforts, they survived the dreadful night that followed. Once the Imperial forces were victorious, my family returned to life as usual. At first, the aristocracy accused them of cowardice, since no El Brante helped the Legion's cause. Unfortunately, we need Stefan to make this happen. But the family never sided with the revolt either, their honor remained untarnished, and my heroic act at the city gate kept them safe. The family survived every ordeal and finally found peace. Oh, my father became the legal advisor in the court of Overseer Gaius Tempest. This lofty position gave him the power to help alleviate the burden of a common estate and establish justice for all. If he also has Elborn by his side, yeah, things are going great. After a lifetime spent diligently working to transform his home province, Sir Robert El Brante died a quiet death in peace and dignity, knowing he had not lived in vain. He will be remembered forever as a protector of a common people's rights and a judge of impeccable honor. Lydia Brante lived to ripe old age in peace and quiet with Robert, her faithful husband. Nice. For the rest of her days, my mother took pride in my great deeds during the suppression of the revolt. When the end came, Lydia departed to the twins' final judgment without fear. Nice. Yes, Stefan never had a chance to affect the struggle for Anizot because he was killed in a duel and never made a mark on history. Yeah. Gloria's new life as a noblewoman's wife put an end to her youthful ardor. When she moved to her husband's home, her fervent poetry and her struggle in the name of the common folk remained in the past. She languished in her newfound monotony at first, mourning her fate. But her connection to the Brante family remained. Through this surviving link, Gloria found the strength to overcome her alienation and pull herself out of the depths of melancholy in which she was mired. Slowly but surely, she came to recognize and accept the genuine love of Sir José El Pelletier, and in time, she responded to his selfless and cordial care with deep gratitude. I had to sacrifice my elder brother to get this ending for Gloria, guys. Like, I had to kill Stefan for Gloria to be happy or at least content with her new life. Gloria eventually came to terms with her newfound life in the noble estate. She soon gave birth to the first of their children and dedicated herself to raising the heir of the great El Pelletier bloodline. And so Gloria spent the rest of her life far from the turmoil in Anizot, surrounded by comfort and warmth until the end of her days. Not that bad. Not the happiest ending for Gloria, but still a good one. Nathan left Anisot with my blessing, inexplicably managing to escape the city in the middle of the revolt. He then set out on a lengthy journey across the empire. He emerged unscathed from every danger or hardship. It was as though the twins themselves were watching over him. One day, after months of wandering the world as a pilgrim, Nathan suddenly returned to Anisot. My brother walked to the silver tree, where he spoke to the people. He told them about how he had met the elder twin himself, who had descended from on high to walk the world once more. Nathan confessed all his transgressions and sins to him, knowing full well that he would find no mercy. But to his surprise, the elder listened to him with tears in his eyes. Filled with compassion for his own creation, he forgave Nathan for all the evils he had done. After his sermon, followers started flocking to Nathan's side. In time, they came to call themselves the Elder's Witnesses. Their teachings began to make their way across the empire. To this day, Nathan's disciples still spread the word. The twin gods have learned forgiveness, and there were actually divine omens and signs that this is true. So, our brother may be the most important member of our family. Like, he completely changed not only this world, but the afterlife as well. Nathan is the most important member of a Brante family, guys. Even though he is a lowborn, weak and sick, like he's so important. He's so much more important than we all thought. Great. Oh, hello, Grandpa. Gregor Brante did not live to see the realization of his great dream, but through the efforts of his descendants, it did come to pass. The name Brante is now forever enshrined within the Blue Book, listed among those of the other noble dynasties of the empire. The blood tide ushered in by Gregor Brante attained immortality. So I'm gonna be kind of immortal now, like I can communicate with my descendants. Oh, what became of me? At the fateful hour, I was the one who led the soldiers of the empire to victory. Gaius Tempest makes me his right-hand man at court. The emperor himself expressed his gratitude to me. Bran of El Brantes is the pride of the empire and the bulwark of her prosperity. His service for the good of the realm shall be remembered for all time. Guys, if you like me so much, like Gaius Tempest loves me, up to 5, can I become the new chairman of the Court of Honor? I mean, Remiel Verman is dead as fuck, so maybe I can replace him, maybe I can preside over the local Court of Honor. I am a pretty honorable dude. Okay, I am rewarded by Overseer Gaius Tempest with the title of Prefect. I replace Elborn as the head judge of Magra, because Elborn is promoted naturally, and I am tasked with dispensing the highest justice. For the rest of my days, I continue to maintain law and order in my home city and province. Despite my humble origins, I have soared to the top. My oath has been fulfilled. I have promised to the twins that I will rise above my common lot, and I have. I am remembered as the savior of Anisot in the face of a great rebellion, a judge of immense authority, and the man with most peculiar destiny. So ends the life and suffering of Sir Bran el Brante. Not quite, we still have the judgment of the gods. Yes. The hour of my death has now come. I guess Bran el Brante lived many more years after the event of the Anisot revolt. I sincerely believe that Bran got married because he should continue his bloodline. He should make sure that his family, his bloodline lives on. But nonetheless, now my soul has left my body, never to return. I am taken to the peak of a shining pillar, and I face the judgment of the gods. The elder and the younger. Okay, I must be judged by them just as every other soul born in this world has been judged since time immemorial. Okay, so I have to answer the questions. Am I thankful to the gods for the life I lived? Oh, so many answers. My life was agony. No, it wasn't. I refuse to submit. I feel no gratitude. My mortal life was mine and mine alone. Well, I don't despise them, certainly. I do not regret it. Thankful. Is my soul filled with love for those who created me and gave me the gift of life? Well, I think Bran has lived a pretty decent life. Like he has experienced joys and sorrows and many adventures and many tragedies and many victories and triumphs and losses. Like his life was something. His life was very fulfilling, at least. But I think my answer would be that I am calm. Compassion and remorse fill the immeasurably deep eyes of the elder twin. He turns to face his divine brother, who returns his gaze with an expression of stern remorse. What was your life to you? What is toil? Diligently doing my duty. My life was dedicated to other people, not really. Um, Struggle for my beliefs, not entirely. Suffering, no. Enlightenment, not really. My life was not focused on learning about the world. In service to others, no. In my life, I created something new. Well, not really. I think toil. I spent my life doing my duties to my family, to my blood tide, to the empire. Yeah, toil. The elder twin bows his head wearily, considering my response. The stern visage of the younger already looms above me. Human by the name of Brante, what did you live for? Interesting. Principles, freedom, power, a cause. I yearn to do a great deed that would outlive me. Actually, a funny thing is that I gave answer to the younger that the cause is my law, like I shape the world with my choices and actions. So other people, happiness. I wanted to find happiness and joy for myself, my family, and those around me. This is very interesting question. Power. I sought to shape the world and bend it to my will. Or yearn to do a great deed. Well, Well, all things considered, I did yearn to do a great deed, to ennoble my family by the sword, to grant my family immortality and prosperity for generations to come, and then to serve my empire and save it from the fires of the rebellion. So it can be said that I did live for a cause. But power is an equally solid answer for Bran, I think, because all his life Bran has struggled not to feel helpless, not to feel powerless. I must answer honestly, because this is the judgment of the gods. This is where all truths are laid bare. Well, in all honesty, I think I lived for power. In a Nietzschean sense, I guess, the power to do as I see fit, the power to shape the world to my will. The younger's gaze lingers on my bare, defenseless soul. What did you leave behind? Change. I blaze the trail for change. Yes, but it's not the most important thing, I guess. I provided for my family and bloodline and gave it a future. Yes, order. I brought order to a restless and confused mortal realm, kinda. Legacy. I have become an important part of the history of the empire. Doctrine. I believed in something and changed the world. Absolutely not. Achievement. My achievements will live on. Okay, I think legacy is the most encompassing answer, because home and the future of my family and my achievements as a servant of the empire, they're still part of my legacy. So this is what I left behind. I have become an important part of the history of the empire. I have left legacy. The younger twin now moves toward me with clear intent. The elder twin restrains his brow with a gesture. Did your life make the world we made better and more perfect? I think absolutely. I improved the mortal world, and though I made mistakes on the road along the way, though I made mistakes along the way, in the end it was worth it, because I made up for my mistakes and I made the world a better place. Well, that wind speaks to me again. What determined your destiny? Oh yeah, the same question we were asked back at the beginning of the game. No one. Destiny does not exist. I made my own destiny. I bear full responsibility for what I had done. Okay, so here the perspective is flipped, and we are watching at the soul of Bran Brante from the perspective of the younger twin. We should decide where does he belong. To the peak of the pillar, this man shall know eternal bliss, or the foot of the pillar, this man shall be condemned to eternal suffering. Okay, guys, I think I will not decide it here myself. I gave my honest answers. I carefully considered each of my answers to the gods. So it's up to each individual viewer, I guess, to decide where does Bran El Brante belong. Because Bran El Brante lived a complicated life. He did good things, he did bad things. He regrets some of his choices, but not the others. He learned forgiveness to the gods, but he mm, I don't know if his repentance is enough to earn their forgiveness. So I will make my choice, and I will make it blindly. I will let you decide, folks. I will let each of you decide for yourselves. Where does Bran El Brante belong? Please inform me in the comments if you want to. What do you think of Bran El Brante and his life? So, guys, so ends the story of Bran El Brante. We now have a chronicle of his life unfolding before us from the very beginning to the very end. I must say this might be my favorite playthrough as an Imperial nobleman, because it had the most epic and exciting adventures, and the most exciting roller coasters of love and friendship and rivalry and betrayal and good things and bad things, virtuous deeds, evil deeds, like, a lot of great stuff. So thank you very much for watching. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we now have the end titles unfolding before us. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and we're still not entirely done, because I have promised this what-if scenario with Knight of the Serpents, so join us next time when we will unfold the dark multiverse of Bran El Brante's life. As for now, thank you all for watching, and take care.